Photo by Bart Young, NBAE via Getty Images. It seems like just a couple weeks ago the NBA was set to begin the 2018-19 season, when the reality is that we have rung in the new year, with most teams having reached, or soon to exceed, their 41st game of the year, marking the halfway point. The beauty of this league is that it is never short on storylines at any point in time. Both players and teams can exceed the expectations placed on them, while some tend to underperform. It's an ever-changing game with plenty of highs and lows for everyone involved. In the early months of October and November, it's difficult to decipher between trends which will simply come and go and those that should now be considered the norm. Only now, with more data at our fingertips, we can more easily make certain claims with substantial proof to back them up. Whereas before, a team may have struggled out of the gate, now there may be legitimate questions surrounding the makeup of the roster. And a player who came out swinging may be considered for a spot on the All-Star team. There are still plenty more games left to play, but to suggest all has gone according to plan would be a big lie, for better or worse, and it's those surprises that give the NBA the intrigue it thrives off of. Here are the 5 biggest surprises so far. Page 2, photo by Brian Rothmuller, Icon SportsWire via Getty Images. Much was made about the eventual arrival of Luka Doncic to the States. He had dominated the EuroLeague as a 19-year-old kid, taking home MVP honors while taking grown men, and even former members of the NBA to school. Fans and analysts alike were both shocked and dumbfounded when the Atlanta Hawks took Doncic number 3 overall only to trade him to the Dallas Mavericks. Sure, there was some concern over whether he'd be overwhelmed by a lack of physical gifts, but those deficiencies were nitpicky at best. Halfway through the season, and any thought of Doncic struggling in the association are now extremely laughable, as he's currently averaging 19.8 points, 6.7 rebounds and 4.9 assists per game. Those numbers don't include the constant stream of highlights the Slovenian ball handler cobbles together on a nightly basis, including dizzying dribble moves and step-back three-pointers most veterans fail to successfully pull off even once, much less have it as part of their offensive arsenal before they turned 20. There was a reason Doncic was one of the top prospects in the 2018 NBA draft, but even so, it seems as though he's exceeded expectations with the simplicity at which he dominates and the ease he seems to play with on the court. He's a lock to win Rookie of the Year and has the NBA world giddy about what's to come. Page 3, photo by Robert Lauberg, Getty Images. Ever since their title run started way back in 2014-15, the Golden State Warriors have played their games with a childlike joy, unselfish in their ball movement and indifferent on who gets what accomplishment along the way. It's that togetherness that made the events of November 13th all the more surprising. With seconds remaining in a tied ball game with the Los Angeles Clippers, rather than hand the ball to the 4-time scoring champion in Kevin Durant, Draymond Green took the ball up the floor looking to make a play, only to turn it over. Golden State would go on to lose in overtime. Before the extra session, KD and Green could be visibly seen getting into a heated argument and would have to be separated. Reports would come out stating Draymond called out Durant on his impending free agency, even including a certain 5-letter word not suitable for the common eye. The Warriors are attempting to accomplish a feat not seen since the 60s by making 5 consecutive NBA Finals. That, coupled with Durant's impending free agency, likely has most of the team on edge just a little bit. Currently just a game out of first place out west, their struggles have been mostly relative given how high they've set the bar in past years, but an argument like that is hard to forget despite the two parties doing their best to move on. Whatever happens over the next 7 months with Golden State's playoff run and KD's decision come July 1st, there really won't be any way to tell whether or not this fight has any lasting repercussions, but that doesn't take away from its shocking development as a possible crack in what was thought to be indestructible armor. Page 4, use your arrows to browse. Photo by Lane Murdoch Jr., NBAE via Getty Images. After getting all the way to Game 7 of the conference finals last season, minus Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, the hype surrounding the Boston Celtics for the 2018-19 season was very real. The two All-Stars were expected to be back by the start of the season, and the experience the rest of the team got during their playoff run would be of great use moving forward. For all the talent on the roster, Boston still seems to be figuring out how best to use it. The C's currently own a 25-15 record, good for fifth best in the conference and nowhere near the level of domination most predicted for them before the season. Unless Danny Ainge makes a trade before the deadline, this issue isn't likely to go away. If the Celtics can't figure out ideal rotations during the regular season, how do they expect to keep everyone happy come playoff time when benches are shortened even more? As far as problems go, too much talent won't garner much sympathy. Brad Stevens seems to be figuring out how to best use each of his players. That shouldn't, however, excuse the team from its relatively underwhelming first half of the season considering the expectations placed on them this past summer. Use your arrows to browse.